The town of Ravenswood clung to the edges of reality. It stood frozen in time, the facades of Victorian-era buildings weathered by the relentless passing of years. The cobblestone streets, once bustling with life, now echoed only with the distant whispers of a bygone era. Moonlight, filtered through the skeletal branches of ancient trees, cast elongated shadows that danced like ghostly wraiths upon the cobblestone canvas. Franklin Blackwood arrived under the shroud of night, his car navigating the winding roads that seemed to unravel the very fabric of time. The town greeted him with a heavy silence, broken only by the soft creaking of ancient weather vanes atop time-worn rooftops. The air was thick with anticipation, as if the very town held its breath, waiting for the inevitable convergence of fate. The narrow, winding road leading into Ravenswood seemed to disappear into the thick mist that clung to the edges of the forgotten town. A persistent sense of foreboding hung in the air, intensified by the ghostly glow of the moon, casting long shadows on the cobblestone streets. Franklin Blackwood, an enigma himself with raven-black hair and eyes that mirrored the darkness he had witnessed, steered his weathered car into the heart of this eerie landscape. The buildings in Ravenswood stood like silent sentinels, remnants of a bygone era. Their facades whispered of stories long forgotten. And yet, the town felt alive with a pulsating undercurrent of secrets. As Franklin parked his car near the town square, the wind carried whispers that seemed to dance through the rustling leaves, leaving a trail of unsettling echoes. Franklin emerged from his vehicle, his eyes narrowing as he surveyed the town square. The moon's pale glow revealed a worn-down gazebo and flickering lampposts, casting peculiar shadows that seemed to move of their own volition. A flicker of hesitation crossed his face, but it was swiftly replaced by the resolute determination that fueled his journalistic pursuits. His gaze fixed on the moonlit horizon, where the Carnival's presence awaited like a phantom in the shadows. Ravenswood, it seemed, held its breath not only in the face of time, but also in anticipation of the otherworldly spectacle that lurked just beyond the veil of perception. Franklin, an interloper in a town suspended in the past, pressed forward, his heart echoing the quiet anticipation that enveloped Ravenswood. The midnight carnival awaited, its secrets shrouded in the enigma of the forgotten town, where time held its breath, and the whispers of ancient darkness waited to be unraveled. Franklin's footsteps echoed down the deserted streets, the rhythmic tap of his shoes resonating against the lingering silence. He walked with purpose, his gaze fixed on the heart of Ravenswood, where the tales of the midnight carnival had taken root. His investigative instincts, honed by years of uncovering hidden truths, tingled with a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. As he approached the town square, the moon emerged from behind a veil of clouds, casting an ethereal glow upon a dilapidated sign that stood as a forgotten relic of better days.
"Welcome to Ravenswood, where time holds its breath,"
it proclaimed in faded letters. The sentiment hung in the air, tangible and haunting. The midnight carnival, a whispered legend among the town's few remaining inhabitants, was said to surface when the moon hung low, casting its silver light upon the forgotten town. Franklin's inquiries had led him here, drawn by the inexplicable allure of a phenomenon that defied reason. The town square, a once vibrant hub of community life, now stood as a solemn testament to the passage of time. Flickering lampposts barely illuminated the ornate architecture that seemed to crumble under the weight of memories. An unsettling breeze rustled through the air, carrying with it the faint strains of distant music, a spectral melody that seemed to beckon Franklin forward. He approached a local cafe, the only source of dim light in the vicinity. The bell above the door jingled softly as he entered, announcing his arrival to the solitary figure behind the counter. The elderly proprietor, with a face etched with the wrinkles of time, peered up from a faded newspaper.
"Welcome to Ravenswood, friend. Not many ventures here willingly,"
he said, his voice tinged with a hint of caution. Franklin saw he had a brief, knowing smile.
"I have a penchant for the unconventional. Tell me about the carnival that emerges on moonlit nights. What secrets does Ravenswood hold?"
The proprietor's eyes widened briefly, a mix of surprise and suspicion flickering across his face. With a reluctant sigh, he leaned in, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper.
"The Midnight Carnival, they call it. a mysterious spectacle that awakens when the moon holds its breath. Some say it's a gateway to the unknown, a realm where nightmares are born.
Franklin's curiosity deepened, and he sensed that the answers he sought were entangled with the town's murky past. As he left the cafe, the night seemed to close in around him, shadows morphing into silent observers. The carnival's magnetic pull intensified, drawing him toward the outskirts of town, where the moonlight revealed the faint outline of the carnival grounds. Every step Franklin took echoed with a resonance that seemed to awaken the very essence of Ravenswood. His journalistic instincts pulsated with anticipation, for he knew that unraveling the secrets of the Midnight Carnival would demand more than mere courage. It would demand a confrontation with the darkness that lurked within the forgotten town's heart. Ravenswood slumbered under the watchful gaze of the silvery moon, its cobblestone streets cloaked in an otherworldly glow. The town held its breath as the whispers of the Midnight Carnival drifted through the crisp night air. Franklin Blackwood, with his heart pounding in tandem with the rhythmic call of the unseen, ventured toward the beckoning glow that pulsed on the outskirts of town. Franklin began to hurry towards it. The carnival materialized like a phantom from the shadows. As he drew closer, he could see its flickering lights casting ethereal shadows that danced upon the trees. Franklin, now running, looked up at the trees decorated with tattered banners, emblazoned with the faded faces of performers long gone as they fluttered in the breeze. The air tingled with unsettling energy as Franklin approached the entrance, where a wrought iron gate groaned on rusted hinges. Franklin gripped the gate, a cold chill running over his body, and yet he persisted and pushed the gates open. Beyond the gate, a twisted path unfolded, flanked by towering, gnarled trees that whispered secrets to each other in the language of the wind. Franklin hesitated and came to a halt as the carnival's music blared to life. His breath suspended as the carnival's haunting melody played, a symphony of ghostly notes weaving through the night. Step by cautious step, he traversed the path, each footfall resonating with the beating heart of the carnival itself. The air thickened with an indescribable scent, a mix of caramelized sugar and the faintest whiff of decay. The path twisted and turned, leading him deeper into the labyrinth of oddities. Franklin found himself alone beneath the flickering glow of a solitary lamppost. As the spectral moon cast long shadows, an unsettling breeze whispered through the desolate tents. Suddenly, a bone-chilling cackle shattered the silence, and from the inky darkness materialized a terrifying clown, painted in deathly hues of mirth. Franklin's breath caught in his throat, and he stumbled back as the clown, with a twisted grin that seemed to stretch beyond the bounds of sanity, appeared out of thin air directly in front of him. The dissonant laughter echoed through the empty Carnival grounds, reciting with an evil that seemed to transcend the fabric of reality. The clown began a hysterical, warning Franklin of the perilous nature of the Midnight Carnival.
Beneath the moon's spectral glow, the carnival awakes, a realm of shadows where perilous dreams take, a midnight circus, a twisted, haunted domain, where escape is a notion both futile and vain. Through tents of nightmares and laughter askew, echoes the call of an evil crew, cotton candy clouds in shades of despair, a carnival at midnight, a sinister affair. Whispers of danger on the carnival breeze, entwined with the rustling of skeletal trees, no exit in sight, no solace, no reprieve, and in the labyrinth of fear only shadows deceive. The carousel spins with a spectral delight, and its eerie music, a symphony of the night, doomed souls wander entrapped in the thrill, a sinister dance that they cannot fulfill. In the mirror maze, reflections distort, illusions of freedom, a cruel, wicked sport. Escape the Midnight Carnival's perilous woe, a phantom endeavor, an eternal shadow.
Each word dripped with a sinister charm as the clown spoke of doom and a fate sealed in the shadows, an eternal existence condemned to the haunted realm of the carnival's bewitched domain. Franklin stood paralyzed, a captive audience to the surreal horror that unfolded before him, his senses ensnared in the disquieting rhymes of the spectral clown. Franklin pressed on, making sure not to relinquish eye contact with the menacing clown. Despite this, the clown, walking backwards, disappeared into the shadows between the tents. Franklin turned around to encounter the first attraction, a tent bathed in an eerie blue light, its entrance framed by faded crimson curtains. A reflective sign lay atop, identifying it as the Hall of Mirrors. Drawn by an invisible force, he fought through the heavy fabric, revealing a space that defied logic. Inside, mirrors distorted reality, reflecting countless versions of Franklin, each one a distorted echo of his anxiety. As he navigated the maze of reflective surfaces, the air became charged with a palpable tension. As Franklin progressed through the halls filled with mirrors, he saw reflections of himself, not just in the present, but also those of the past and potentially his future. Whispers of forgotten fears reverberated, and the distorted reflections seemed to mock his deepest insecurities. Faces twisted into grotesque masks of despair, echoing the haunting memories that lingered in the recesses of his mind. A reflection of Franklin's 8-year-old self stared back at him. Although no sound could be heard, Franklin could see the reflection was mouthing, "Stay with me." Taking a few steps back out of surprise, Franklin falls to the floor. Now looking over his shoulder, a new reflection of an older, much rougher-looking Franklin stares back at him and once again mouths the words, "Stay with me." Franklin's heart quickened as the air grew colder, the mirrors distorting into grotesque images of spectral faces. Panic clawed at him, threatening to consume reason. The Carnival reveled in his vulnerability, exploiting the fractures in his psyche with each disconcerting reflection. Both the old and young reflective versions of Franklin, along with dozens of other reflections, seemed to begin pressing against their eternal glass encasements, all still mouthing, "Stay with me." Franklin, scared and stumbling to his feet, watched as the glass prison walls seemed to bend and crackle, being overwhelmed by the ghostly figure's desire to be released. Franklin, sensing the situation's boiling point fast approaching, continued haste fully down the hall. The creaking and crackling ended as the glass in the hall began to burst in an explosive rage. Franklin, covering his face, now within meters of the exit, engulfed by the storm of glass, lunges for the door to his salvation. Franklin lands roughly on the dusty ground outside the Hall of Mirrors. Bloodied and lacerated, he lets out a soft chuckle, eager to press on. The attractions whispered to Franklin, their peculiar names etched on worn wooden signs. The Mirror Maze of Despair, Whispers of the Past Carousel, and Tunnel of Forgotten Fears beckoned him with an irresistible pull. Each step felt like a descent into an abyss of nightmares, yet curiosity tugged at him, urging him to uncover the truth. A distant, haunting laughter echoed through the tent as Franklin stumbled into the open air, his senses reeling from the macabre spectacle. He stood, disoriented, on the fringe of the Carnival's heart, the path now leading toward an imposing tent in the distance, with a faded sign that simply read, "Tunnel of Forgotten Fears." Franklin ventured deeper into the heart of the midnight carnival, his senses assaulted by a cacophony of unsettling sights and sounds. The air crackled with energy, as if the very atmosphere conspired to keep the carnival's secrets concealed. Dimly lit lanterns swung eerily from skeletal trees, casting elongated shadows that danced across the path like phantoms. The air carried the scent of cotton candy, but beneath it lingered a metallic tang. As he approached the entrance to the Tunnel of Forgotten Fears, he looked up to see a large, withered sign that seemed to come alive because of Franklin's presence. From his peripheral to the left, a colorful figure caught his attention. He turned to see the clown from earlier, standing still, waving at him from 200 meters away. Franklin, off-put by the clown's eerie gaze, turned back to the entrance and entered. The cloth walls of the tent were covered in dust and cobwebs. As he ventured into the foreboding entrance, the air thickened with an unsettling chill, and the distorted echoes of distant screams intertwined with a haunting feeling of doom. The flickering dim lights cast eerie shadows on the walls adorned with grotesque imagery. Franklin's every step became a hesitant dance through the unknown, his heartbeat echoing louder than the unsettling whispers that surrounded him. As he passed, the walls seemed to come alive with images of his past, a father scolding his young son, a school bully confronting his prey in a dead-end alley. Although these were soft spots for Franklin, what came next would truly begin to shake him. The walls stopped showing images and went black, though still seemed to be moving. The movement slowly descended towards the ground, and a sudden shock came over Franklin as he realized hundreds, no, thousands of spiders encircling him. The dark, crawling swarm drew closer to him, Turning around hoping for respite, Franklin realized he was surrounded. Stricken with fear and feeling hopeless, Franklin crouches down into a ball and accepts his imminent doom. As the horde of dark, sinister tarantulas encompass Franklin, he can feel the thousands of legs trampling on his clothing and flesh. Franklin gets lost in a distant memory. In a dimly lit attic of their childhood home, a young Franklin found himself face to face with a terror that would haunt his dreams for years to come. As he reached for a forgotten toy hidden amongst dusty boxes, his fingers brushed against a web, setting loose a cascade of 8-legged nightmares. With a deafening scuttle, spiders of all sizes emerged from the shadows, their skittering legs weaving a grotesque waltz of fear around him. Frozen in terror, Franklin watched in horror as the creatures encroached upon him, their gleaming eyes reflecting his terror at him. Time seemed to slow to a crawl as the spiders crawled over his trembling form, their touch a torment that seared into his memory. From that day forth, the mere sight of a spider would send shivers down Franklin's spine, a reminder of the traumatizing encounter that lingered in the depths of his subconscious until today. Sudden jolts of pain snapped him out of his nightmarish trance as the spiders began to sink their obsidian fangs deep into Franklin's flesh. Frightened and enraged, Franklin shot to his feet, flailing his arms and running towards the end of this nightmarish attraction, hoping desperately to shake free of the spider's vicious blanketing hold on him. A gleam of light, signifying salvation from this hell. The spider's piercing injections penetrated his skin as he ran frantically towards his relief. With each slippery step, Franklin could feel the deadly crunching of his oppressors underneath the soles of his feet. The exit in clear sight now, Franklin intensified his pace, running through the floppy cloth doors and falling to the ground. Still feeling as though he was in danger, Franklin rolled and thrashed around, hoping to get the remaining 8-legged assailants off his person. And yet through the pain and panic, he noticed no crunching, no biting, no squishing. There were no more spiders. They had all gone, vanished as if they were never there. From the corner of his eye, once again Franklin feels the presence of a colourful figure. The clown could be seen in the distance, smiling, watching and waving. Feeling dejected out into the open air, Franklin found himself breathless, sitting at the carnival's epicenter. The ringmaster's tent loomed in the distance, a dark silhouette against the moonlit sky. It pulsed with an otherworldly energy, the epicenter of the carnival's malevolence. A sense of foreboding gripped his heart. Franklin now realized exactly how severe his situation was. What started as the possibility for a fun paranormal adventure turned into a life and death situation. But Franklin pressed on, drawn inexorably towards the ringmaster's tent. As Franklin stepped into the moonlit night, he knew the time had come to confront the ringmaster, to unveil the truth that lurked beneath the carnival's facade. The air crackled with anticipation, and the town held its breath, as if aware that the unfolding chapter would determine the fate of Ravenswood and the souls ensnared within the midnight carnival's ghastly embrace. As he ventured deeper into the twisted realm, the nightmarish attractions intensified, revealing the true horror that lay at the carnival's core. Unbeknownst to Franklin, the ringmaster watched from the shadows, reveling in the psychological torment that gripped his soul. The carnival's malevolence had sunk its claws deep, and escape seemed an impossible feat in this surreal landscape of nightmares. The moon hung low in the ink-black sky, casting an otherworldly glow over the midnight carnival. Franklin's heart quickened as he navigated the twisted pathways of the surreal spectacle, each step laden with a sense of impending doom. The air was thick with a sinister energy, a palpable tension that seemed to emanate from the very fabric of the carnival itself. As Franklin delved deeper into the heart of the carnival, the atmosphere grew more oppressive. The flickering gas lamps cast elongated shadows that danced along the canvas of the tents, creating an eerie ballet of darkness. Whispers of long-forgotten secrets seemed to linger in the air, as if the very essence of Ravenswood's haunting history was seeping through the cracks. A figure emerged from the shadows. The ringmaster, an enigma in a top hat and a blood-red coat, materialized from the shadows. His eyes, pools of obsidian darkness, fixated on Franklin with an unsettling intensity. His face, now obscured by his top hat, cast a long shadow over his twisted grin and lips, revealing a malevolent satisfaction that sent shivers down Franklin's spine. The carnival's macabre attractions fell silent, as if nature itself held its breath in anticipation.
Ah, Franklin Blackwood.
The ringmaster's voice, a melodic yet haunting symphony, echoed through the empty space.
The lowly adventurer wandering into the labyrinth of nightmares. Do you not fear the darkness you unveil? You've come seeking truths, young journalist.
The ringmaster's voice slithered through the air, a haunting melody that sent shivers down Franklin's spine.
But what you seek may unravel the fabric of your reality.
Franklin, his resolve hardened by a cocktail of fear and determination, met the ringmaster's gaze.
I fear nothing that can be exposed to the light.
He retorted, his words carrying the weight of a journalist unyielding in the pursuit of truth. The ringmaster chuckled, the sound echoing through the desolate carnival like a powerful thunderclap.
Truth, my friend, is a fickle mistress. It dances in the shadows, revealing itself only to those willing to embrace the darkness. Do you think you can expose the darkness within? The carnival is but a mirror reflecting the fears hidden in the deepest recesses of your soul.
The ringmaster taunted, his voice weaving through the dissonant notes. As the ringmaster spoke, the carnival's attraction stirred to life. Twisted creatures emerged from the shadows, their grotesque forms a nightmarish fusion of reality and nightmare. The air became charged with an evil energy, and the very ground beneath Franklin seemed to pulse with an otherworldly heartbeat. Franklin clenched his fists, determination blazing in his eyes.
I've faced my fears, confronted the nightmares you've made me endure. Ravenswood deserves to be free from your games.
The ringmaster's laughter echoed, reverberating through the very fabric of the tent.
Free? Oh, my friend, freedom is an illusion. The carnival is eternal, and its nightmares shall linger long after you're gone.
Suddenly, the tent walls seemed to ripple, revealing glimpses of a nightmarish realm beyond. Phantasmagoric shapes writhed in the shadows, and the air grew thick with an otherworldly chill.
You seek to unravel the secrets of this carnival, to bring this all to an end.
The ringmaster continued, his voice now a haunting whisper that slithered through the air.
But can you comprehend the weight of the truths that lie within? Can you bear witness to the darkness that dwells in the hearts of men and the nightmares that linger in the spaces between worlds?
Franklin felt the carnival closing in around him, a malevolent force weaving a web of fear and illusion. The ringmaster's words resonated in his mind, sparking a tempest of doubt and dread. Yet, in the face of the encroaching darkness, he stood resolute, a lone flame flickering against the night. The showdown between journalist and ringmaster unfolded like a twisted ballet, each movement laden with a sense of inevitability. The Carnival's dark forces swirled around them, a whirlwind of shadows and nightmares. In this surreal battleground, Franklin Blackwood was now face to face with the ringmaster. The air within the heart of the carnival hung heavy, pregnant with the sinister energy that permeated every creaking board and flickering light. Franklin, his breath visible in the cold, stepped cautiously through the surreal landscape. The carnival, once a playground of nightmares, had become a battleground between the forces of darkness and a lone, determined journalist. As he approached the center, the ethereal glow of the ringmaster materialized, his silhouette shifting like shadows in the dance of a ghostly ballet. His voice, a serpent's whisper, slithered through the air.
Franklin Blackwood, the seeker of truths. Do you believe you can unravel the tapestry of nightmares I've woven?
Franklin's heart pounded, but a steely resolve burned within his eyes.
I'll expose the darkness you hide, no matter the cost.
The ringmaster chuckled, a sound that echoed through the carnival like a macabre lullaby.
Costs, my friend, are inevitable. Even truth comes at a price. Take this situation, for example. You've come to confront me and learn my secrets, but I've come only to welcome a friend home.
Franklin's brows furrowed in curiosity, and his determination persisted as he felt he was close to the true meaning.
What does that mean? What are you talking about?
The cost of my truth is your presence. The secret to the Midnight Carnival is that everyone who comes stays here forever. You will be my newest attraction. The moment the clock hits midnight, the gates to the carnival disappear, and everyone still inside will remain here forever.
The air thickened, suffused with a malevolent tension, and the attractions twisted into grotesque caricatures of themselves. Carousel horses snarled with jagged teeth, and cotton candy booths oozed a sickly black ichor. Franklin clenched his jaw, confronting his deepest fears manifesting around him. He felt the weight of every regret, every shadow from his past, clawing at his resolve. But he pressed on, navigating through the surreal labyrinth, toward the epicenter of the nightmare. The ringmaster, sensing his determination, raised his hand, and the carnival erupted into a kaleidoscope of horror. Spectral apparitions whispered forgotten secrets, and grotesque figures danced in the twisted moonlight. In the midst of the chaos, Franklin found himself facing a mirror, a reflection of his darkest self. A phantom from his past emerged, accusatory eyes penetrating his soul.
You cannot escape the choice you've made now. The carnival will soon close, and you will remain here as part of it.
Franklin, defiant, met his spectral gaze head-on. Franklin's voice now shaking as he comes to grips with the cost of the horrific truth. Frantically, he pulled back his sleeve and looked at his watch. It read 5 minutes to midnight.
So, this was all just...
A distraction.
The ringmaster interjected, with an emerging smile on his face. As the confrontation reached its peak, the ringmaster's laughter resonated like thunder, shaking the very foundation of the carnival. He reveled in the turmoil, savoring the desperation that clung to the air. Franklin, now faced with a dire sense of urgency, took a few steps back and then turned and sprinted towards the exit of the Midnight Carnival. Drawing upon a strength he didn't know he possessed, Franklin ran, faster than he had ever run before. With the spectral moon casting an eerie glow upon the deserted carnival grounds, Franklin's heart pounded in his chest as he raced towards the looming exit. Every step felt like an eternity as he pushed through the swirling mist, the echoes of his frantic breath mingling with the thoughts of a ticking clock in his mind. The looming dread of being trapped within the carnival's cursed domain spurred him onward, his mind racing with the dire consequences of failing to escape before the witching hour. As Franklin neared the exit, a cacophony of manic laughter pierced the stillness, freezing him in his tracks. From the shadows in the distance emerged the clown, his painted grin twisted into a malevolent sneer as he brandished a gleaming knife. With each step, the clown's eyes grew more sinister, a haunting expression that echoed with the threat of imminent danger. As Franklin drew closer, he realized the clown had always been between him and the exit to the carnival. With menacing looks and eerie expressions, the clown had almost forced Franklin to progress further into the Midnight Carnival. He surmised that this must have been the clown's true intent all along. 3 minutes remaining. The clown, with his gaze stuck on Franklin, begins his pursuit. With surprising quickness, he lunges and tackles Franklin to the ground. The clown, laughing with a bloodlust it had not shown before, swipes the blade of the knife at Franklin, slicing and wounding him. Franklin's pulse quickened as he realized he had less than 3 minutes to evade the clown's menacing grasp and break free from the carnival's insidious grip. Out of desperation, Franklin reaches for the clown's eyes, gouging at them, creating enough space for him to push the clown off him, turn around, and run. 2 minutes remaining. Franklin, now lacerated and leaking blood from numerous places, begins to stagger towards the large metal gates that signified the carnival's exit and his salvation. The clown, with knife in hand and an unflinching resolve, takes chase again at Franklin. 1 minute remaining. A few more steps, and Franklin would have his freedom from this eternal prison. Just as he began to feel hope, a sharp, piercing pain swept through his leg, and he crumbled to the ground. Turning, he saw the clown had lunged the knife deep into his calf. Both on the ground, intently looking at each other, the clown speaks.
In the dead of night, beneath the moon's eerie light, I dance with glee. Oh, Franklin, can't you see? The carnival's spell, it binds you well, forever trapped within its twisted swell. Midnight's chime draws near, my dear. You must stay, don't you fear, for if you dare to flee, you'll be trapped here with me. So dance with the shadows, O Franklin dear. Embrace the madness, abandon your fear, for once the clock strikes midnight's knell, you'll be bound to this carnival's spell.
30 seconds remaining until midnight. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, Franklin summoned every ounce of determination and thrust his boot in the face of the menacing clown, wincing from the pain it releases its grip of the knife, still lodged in Franklin's leg, and rolls away in agony. 10 seconds remaining until midnight. The seconds ticked away, like a drumbeat of impending doom, as Franklin hastily crawled towards the exit just feet away, his breath ragged and his limbs heavy with exhaustion. He looks at the gate now, slowly evaporating into mist and slowly disappearing. With a final burst of energy, he lunged through the threshold just as the clock struck midnight, escaping the clutches of the carnival's sinister embrace by mere seconds. Franklin turned onto his back to look back and see the carnival transforming into vapor and slowly dissipating. As he lay collapsed on the cold ground, he knew that he had narrowly cheated fate. The clown once again standing, staring, smiling, and waving at him from beyond the threshold of the carnival gates, slowly evaporating with the rest of the carnival, the memory of the rhyming clown's laughter echoing in the recesses of his mind as a chilling reminder of the peril he had narrowly escaped. As he limped out into the moonlit night, the town felt different. The air, once thick with fear, now carried a lingering sense of release. The sacrifices made within the carnival hadn't sealed the rift, but had now armed him with the knowledge. That was prior to his encounter sealed within the midnight carnival walls. The memory of that fateful night would forever haunt Franklin's dreams. The ringmaster's voice, a final haunting whisper, echoed in the wind.
Truth comes at a price, Franklin Blackwood. Remember that.
And with those parting words, the journalist turned away from Ravenswood, leaving behind the town and the echoes of nightmares he had confronted. The darkness lingered, but as he walked into the unknown, a sliver of dawn broke through the horizon, promising a new beginning. The moon hung low in the night sky, its silvery glow casting an ethereal pallor over Ravenswood. The once-forgotten town, now quiet and still, bore the scars of the recent turmoil that had unfolded beneath the ominous canopy of the midnight carnival. Franklin Blackwood, forever changed by the unearthly horrors he faced, stood on the outskirts of the town, gazing back at the emptiness that now echoed with the haunting remnants of the carnival's malevolence. Franklin trudged back to the town. The pain from his wound still lingered. However, the knife, like the carnival, seemed to have vaporized into the ether. As he traced the path of his footsteps, he couldn't shake the feeling that something lingered in the shadows. The air, though free from the twisted carnival tunes and blood-curdling screams, crackled with residual energy, an unsettling reminder of the nightmares that had seeped into the fabric of Ravenswood. A whisper, almost imperceptible, rode on the breeze, carrying echoes of the ringmaster's enigmatic laughter. The chilling resonance sent shivers down Franklin's spine, a haunting melody that refused to be silenced. He turned away from the town, but the lingering shadows seemed to follow his, dancing at the periphery of his vision. Franklin walked through the deserted streets, his footsteps echoing in the hollow silence. The houses, once witnesses to the inexplicable horrors that had gripped Ravenswood, stood like silent sentinels, guarding the secrets buried within their walls. The night held its breath, as if waiting for the carnival to re-emerge from the depths of the nightmare realm. As he reached the town's edge, a single crow perched on a gnarled branch cawed mournfully. Its eyes, black and piercing, bore into Franklin's soul, conveying a knowing that transcended the natural world. The bird's cawing intensified, echoing the ominous laughter that still lingered in his memories. A chill swept through the air, and Franklin felt a cold breeze whispering through the trees, carrying with it fragments of forgotten nightmares. He couldn't shake the sensation that the carnival, though vanished D, had left an indelible mark on Ravenswood. The town's scars were not just physical, they were etched into the very essence of the once sleepy enclave. In the distance, a clock tower chimed, its tolling notes resonating with a melancholic tune. The same tune that had played in the carnival, now haunting the town as a reminder of the thin veil that separated reality from the nightmare realm. Franklin shivered, unable to escape the feeling that the carnival's departure was merely a reprieve. As he turned away from Ravenswood, a single tattered ticket fluttered at his feet, caught in the ghostly breeze. The ticket bore the emblem of the Midnight Carnival, a macabre reminder of the surreal nightmare he had endured. Franklin picked it up, fingers tracing the edges of the paper as if it held the key to unlocking the carnival's secrets. With a heavy sigh, he tucked the ticket into his pocket, the lingering shadows of Ravenswood clinging to his like a spectre. As Franklin walked away, the town remained silent, its secrets buried but not forgotten. The moonlight painted a spectral tableau, and as the final echoes of the clock tower faded, a single question lingered in the air. Would the Midnight Carnival return, or had it merely retreated into the shadows, waiting for the next unsuspecting town to draw into its malevolent embrace?